Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another week. For this week's project, we're going to shoot back into GIMP, and I'm going to have you guys do a magazine layout all about yourself. So, uh, one of the assignments this week was to look at magazine cover that you really liked and post that in our discussion. One of them that I found was Guitar Player magazine. I'm a musician, so I just really liked how the title was up here. I don't necessarily like Alex's head in the inside the title, but I do like how the title's on its own background, and each area has its place. You know, the picture's taking up the right side here. The titles are kind of in their own area, barcodes in its own area, and everything's just kind of in its place where it needs to be. I really like that. So I kind of modeled mine sort of after that. So going in, let's go into GIMP here. And I don't know why I have two files going here. Let's close one of those. Here we go. Okay, and let's set up our file. So the first thing we need to do is set up a file. So file new or control N. And we're actually going to do inches this time instead of pixels. So you're going to change this px to inches. And our width is going to be 8.5 or 8.5 inches. Our height will be 11, like a sheet of paper. Okay, and let's see, 300 ppi is perfect. Click OK. And there is my canvas to begin my project. So, okay, so we have our background here, and we're ready to roll. Let's bring in a picture or two. I'm going to move this over, and I'm just going to drag some photos in here that I've saved over the years. There's one here. If I play guitar, I like to emphasize that a lot. Keep the color profile there. Okay, and there's my picture. And let me resize that. So let's bring this over here. Let's grab our scale tool, click on our image. If I hold down shift there, I'll maintain the aspect ratio. So hold down shift and you can drag this thing up. And then if I take my finger off shift, notice there I can skew it. And then I'll bring this down, just try to make it look like close to the original photo, as close as I can get it. And maybe bring some of that up. Oh no, I guess that's good right there. And then hit enter. Okay, and there's my image there. And let's bring in the other thing I like is the Persian rug here. Let's grab that. So let me zoom down here. Grab this one. We're going to drop that in. And that one's a little too small as well, so I can scale that by just clicking on it. Again, I'm just going to grab a corner. Just kind of make sure that these are covering the canvas there. Anything that exceeds the canvas edge will be cut off when you save it out, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so we have two images. We have a Persian rug and we have my image underneath, and then a background here, down here, which we're going to leave alone. So the blending modes, this is how the blending modes work. You have to have two layers. You apply the blending mode on the layer above the other one. So on this Persian rug, if we were to apply a blending mode to this, we'd go up to the top of the layers window where it says mode and go to the right and see where it says normal here. We're going to click that arrow right to the right of normal. And this is where we're going to find our blending modes right here. So if I try one of these, notice what happens. The images just start blending together, right? Here I can also adjust the opacity of that layer if I want it to be a real subtle effect. Bring it up just a little bit here. And that's kind of a neat effect, isn't it? Okay, or you can try others too. Instead of overlay, let's try pin light. And that's kind of interesting. I like how the colors come out a little more in that one. Then we could bump that down, and it adds a little texture to the image too. So that's really neat. I like that one a lot. Okay, so overlay, or pin light, sorry, that's one to remember. Let's try one down here, exclusion. That's kind of interesting too. Bump that up, and then you can see you can bring back some of that rug imagery a little more. Although that obscures me a little too much. And let's try divide. Whoa, that's kind of very interesting, but not what I'm going for. But that's cool. I really like that. If you could get it really subtle, maybe. Maybe just bump it down a little bit like that. Yeah, I like that. It's a little too much. So I think pin light would have been good for that one. But let's go ahead and let me show you what else you can do here. You can also, let's go back to normal here. You can also reverse these and try it that way and see if you like that better. Let's try pin light on my image there on the top there. And see, that's a totally different effect, right? But if I go down to Persian rug and drop that a little bit, whole different effect, right? Doesn't really work as well there, I don't think. So let's try another one here. Let's try screen. And not going to work that. Let's try burn. Well, that's kind of interesting. I like that. So you could do burn, and then again, you could play with the opacity. Just want to add a little texture. That actually looks kind of cool. I like that. You could bump it up too. Create some nice, interesting imagery. I like that. So that's kind of cool too. So you could do something like that. Let's say you want to keep that. A couple things we can do. We can go up to this top image and we can merge these two layers. If you go up to layer. But before I do it, let me make a copy of this in case I need to preserve this image. So I'm going to just click on my image here on the top here and make a duplicate of it. Okay, so the duplicate I'm going to put down here with the background. So the background and the duplicate are down here on the bottom. I can turn the eyeball off on those two if I don't want to see them. And on this one, I'll just change this back to normal mode. So if I go up here, change that to normal. And then this one still has the burn mode. Okay, so you can see that now. I'll leave the background on. And that looks pretty cool. So now I can take this layer on the top. I can go up to layer, or any layers that are visible, sorry. And I can go down to new from visible. So I'm going to click new from visible. And notice now I've got all these other layers underneath. And this one is now a layer unto itself. So I can leave these alone. I don't have to touch these now. Maybe leave the background on, right? And now I've got this on one layer. So now I could even add another image if I want, or I could actually apply one of these images to above this one, for example, and do another blending mode here. Watch this. Now I'll do addition maybe. Okay, or let's try exclusion. That's kind of a fun one. And then bring down the opacity here. And there you get a subtler effect, and maybe the skin, an improvement in the color of the skin tone. And so here's the difference there. You click there, and it's just kind of balances it out a little bit right there. I kind of like that too. Okay, you can even bring it down a little more. That's really cool. I like that. So you can see how you can really have some fun with this. Now I can go up here and do the same thing. Go up to layer, new from visible. And so now I have that layer by itself. And let's maybe do a color change on that. Let's go up to color, hue, saturation. And let's adjust the hue of this image and see if we can make something trippy out of that. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Not subtle enough, but well, that's kind of neat right there. Okay, the other thing you can do is you can just click on one of the colors and adjust all of the reds, for example. Okay, so you can actually adjust them out, or you can make it a little more subtle. So that's kind of interesting too. And you can also create some really interesting complementary tones too that way. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so let's get the tone. Maybe start with getting the skin tone the way you want it. That's kind of neat. And then what we could do is go maybe to the green. Adjust that a little bit. Here we go. Check this out right here. Again, we're just adjusting one color. Really making some nice looking tones there. Kind of deepen the image in the background a little bit. That's cool right there. I really like that. Bring it back a little bit. All right, so there's a lot you can do with these blending modes. Click OK there. And again, same thing. Go up to Layer, New from Visible. Turn off these. And there's my image maybe to work with. And let's go ahead and make it a little bit smaller, I think, is what we're going to need to do. So we're going to go ahead and just use the Scale tool. Hold down Shift to maintain my aspect ratio. And adjust that image down to about there maybe. Hit Enter. And grab my Move tool here. And if I go to, let's see, View, I can do Snap to Canvas Edges if I want. I can select that under View. Snap to Canvas Edges. Oops. Let's go to View. If I click that, now when I grab the image with my Move tool here, it'll snap right to the edge without me having to finagle it. Okay, and so that looks pretty good. Maybe make that a little bit larger. Let's try one more scale here. That looks good right there. Grab my Move tool. Snap that right to the edge, and now I have a spot for my title. I have a spot for all my feature stories and my barcode. And so now what we're going to do is, before I start doing my titles, I want to do one for the background too. So instead of using the Persian rug, I'm going to bring in another picture here. Let's see what else is available there. Let's see what I've grabbed here. The stars are interesting. This is kind of interesting too. And so is the swirl. So maybe I'll go with the stars for an otherworldly kind of look. So let's grab this and drag it in. And notice there it's not going to fit the canvas, obviously. So what I'm going to do is rotate it, first of all. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's see if there's a rotation tool here. Here we go. Here's a rotate tool. So we click on the image, and then here I can do a 90-degree angle. So for angle, I'm just going to type in 90. And there, notice there it automatically just rotates it for you. And I'm only going to use it to cover this area on the bottom. So I'm going to grab my Move tool, bring this over maybe right there. And let's go ahead and switch back to the Scale tool here. Let's go ahead and bring this over to about there, and then we'll bring this up to about there, let's say. So go ahead and click Scale. And so now when I turn this on down below, you're going to see that I've got this kind of starry image with the purple background. So here I can, well, actually we can make it smaller. So let's go ahead and scale it one more time. We'll just bring this down a little bit. Go ahead and hit Scale. And let's do a little bit more, about right there. Okay, so that looks pretty good right there. So we've got this nice image there, and we'll blend it in with the purple here. So let's go ahead and do a blending mode also. Oh, here we go. I didn't see the edge there. Let's do this. Bring this over a little bit. Maybe a little bit more and scale that just so it covers the whole thing. Okay, and now we can do our blending mode up here. So let's go ahead and try something. Let's try pin light. Too bright. Doesn't help there. Oh, that's not bad. Let's keep trying here. Let's try hard mix. Nah, I don't like that. Difference. You get some neat effects, but it's just a matter of finding the right one. No. Let's try linear burn. Ooh, I like that. So that's kind of interesting. So give it kind of an otherworldly look again. We could even do the same thing with the top image too if we wanted to. So we could go up here, put it above there, and then do another one. Let's try, well, no, we don't want to do erase. Multiply, maybe bring down the opacity there. That's kind of interesting. Let's try another one. Linear burn. That's kind of neat. A little too much red, though. Okay, soft light. Bring up the opacity there. That's kind of interesting, too. And let's try maybe one more here. Let's try exclusion. And we'll bring down the opacity there. I don't like that. All right, so we're going to get rid of that. Or let's try a couple more. What the heck? Okay. Let's try multiply. I like multiply, but then we lost some of that detail in there too. So let's go ahead and delete that layer. And we'll go back to what we had before. And it looks like I lost that layer because I moved it up. So let's do that again. Let's bring that image in. Or actually, I can hit Control Z, bring this back down where it was here. And let's go back and do, let's bring up the opacity there. There we go. That's kind of cool. I like that. And then if we wanted to make that more of a complementary color to this image, I could go up here and do more of a, let's see, colors, hue saturation, and adjust the hue to that image. And you can also play with that to bring out some of the colors to make it more of a complementary style image. That's kind of interesting too. Okay, that's pretty close. That's a pretty close complement. Oh, I just got off just a little bit. That's pretty close right there. Click OK. You can see there now I've got some complementary imagery going on there. That's kind of interesting. And then on the top there, we can also change that if we want to. We can, well, let's do this. Let's select that area. Let's do a new layer. So we're going to click on new layer here. Click OK. And we're going to just draw a selection up there across the top and do a new color there. And let's try maybe that darker violet. So let me grab my color picker tool here. See if I can get that dark violet color. Oh, that's nice right there. And fill that in. That's kind of nice, yeah. So you can see you can do a lot with your cover, different colors, different areas. Okay, so now is a good time to start thinking about titles. So I'm going to go ahead and put a title on there. So I'm going to create a new layer here. Click OK. And I'm going to grab my text tool over here. It's a big A here in the toolbox. And just click on here on its own layer. Notice here I have white as my color. you need to change the color of your text, you click on that little box there. And I'm going to leave it white though. And then here I've got I don't know what font this is, but I'm just going to start typing my name. And that's what I have so far. And then if you want to change the font size, you can do it right from here. Just select your text. You can bring it up like that. And also notice these tools here, right here. You can, well, you have to select your text here. You can select your text. And then you can notice here I can increase the size vertically or horizontally. Here, this is like your tracking. So here I can track the letters or make them further apart or closer together. That's the horizontal tracker. And then this one's vertical if your text is vertical. So, but mine's horizontal here. So something like that. And then again, if I want to bring the font size down, I can do it up here. So again, select your text. Notice here my J is really small there, so I need to just select that J, I think. And let's bring that up to about, no, that's a little too big, I think. Let's go down to about 160. And then this one here will go down to about 160 for now, just to look at it. Okay, that looks good overall. Again, we can also select the whole thing. If you want to double click and select your text here, let's bring the whole thing up. And then if you want to change, here's what I don't like about GIMP. If you want to change your font here, it doesn't let you. It just tells you what the font is. If you want to change your font, you got to go over to the tools on the upper right, above the layers window. There's a little white box there. That's where your fonts are. Click there. And then you can change your font right there. That's not bad. I like that. Here's Fort. That's kind of cool. So you do have some fonts in GIMP. It's not really extremely extensive, but there are enough in there to where I think you'll probably find one that you like. So something that represents you, you can play around with the different fonts. Kind of like that. I kind of like the just that courier font type look. But let's see what else is there. There's something there. No, that's kind of cool too. That's kind of a neat font. Maybe I'll go with that. So you got a lot of different fonts. Oh, I like that. You got a lot of different fonts to choose from. So I'll go with that one. I can just grab my move tool now and I can move this wherever I want. I'm going to leave a little space for some other things here as well. So I'll just leave that there for now. Now I can also customize this a little bit too. So I can actually select it or go onto this layer. Sorry, let's go onto this layer. And let's see if we can add a filter to it. Let's go back here. We're going to grab our text tool again. Select our text and we're going to try... Let's try water pixels. Oh yeah, and you can see the effect happening there. So sometimes you might just have to click on the text there, or click on the controls to start making things happen. Ooh, that's kind of neat. I like that. So here, the spatial regularization. If I turn it down, it's going to randomize it a little bit, and that's kind of interesting right there. Maybe bring that down a little bit. Bring it up a little more. Okay, I like it. Okay, let's bring that up a little more. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Bring this down a little bit. Okay, cool. I like that. So click OK. So you can apply an effect to your text if you want. I might even want to put a border like that in black behind it. That looks kind of cool. So maybe I'll do that. So let's grab our move tool here. Selected it, and it looks like it already applied it. So that's good. All right. So we've already got a border there. Probably want to increase the size of it a little more now that I have this. So let's go ahead and edit that. Oh, I did it again. Darn it. I lost my edit thing here. So let's go ahead and do this. And we'll bring this up. And that's about as large as I'm going to be able to get it. So click Control Z. All right, perfect. We'll leave it there. Just the way it is. Other things you could add to it, you could add a little header to underneath the magazine. So maybe what I'll do is add a header underneath this. So I'll put the title up here maybe. Maybe center it right about there. A little more. I'm just eyeballing it here. Okay, that looks good. And then maybe a little header down here. And another thing, watch this. I can even scale this by itself. So I could bring this down a little bit if I want to take up some more space down here. Hit enter. There it is. And so we'll call this the magazine for middle age. So I'm going to go ahead and add a layer. Click OK. And under, well, yeah, we'll have this one underneath here. And then again, get a text tool. I won't say for middle-aged men because it could be for anybody, really. The magazine for middle age. Okay, and then grab this. Oops, Control Z. Make sure you're on the right layer here. And with our move tool, we can move this thing around. Control Z again. Shift Control A maybe to deselect it. Not sure why it's moving everything else, so let me figure that one out. Let's look at my tool settings here. Okay, move the active layer. So what I did was it said pick a layer or guide. That just means auto select is on. So whenever I click something, it's going to move that layer that's underneath it. But if you just click on move the active layer in your tool settings, now it should just grab this one. Yeah. So that could frustrate the heck out of you if you don't really see what's going on there. Maybe center that, something like that. Go back to our layers window. Okay, so far we're rolling along, and then in the next we'll do our feature stories, and I'll do a barcode too. Okay, so now is a good time to start doing your feature stories that are going to appear in your magazine. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this whole thing and start with a new layer here. So again, click here to create a new layer, or you can just hold down Shift and it'll bypass that other menu and just create a layer. So if you hold down Shift and click on this, you don't have to do that second one where you click OK. All right, so now here on this one, I'm going to grab my text tool. I'm going to start with my feature story here. Very important one. Time to peace out. And notice how big the font is here. So before I continue, I'm going to select all of this. Actually, Control Z. And let's make that smaller. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make the font smaller right here. There, I want it to fit right in there on the top there. Yeah. Let's see how far I can go with that. That's good right there for now. Here we'll go here. Maybe put a colon there. Oops. Control Z. Make sure you're in the right spot there. Put a colon. Go to the next line. Why separation is good for a loving relationship gone wrong. Okay. So that would be one of my stories there. And I don't really like the font, so I'm going to change that. I don't want all caps. So again, I can't change it exactly right there, but if I go to my tool settings, let's see here. I can click here, right, and change my font right there. Again, there's quite a few here. I don't like Courier. Let me look at that one. No, that's kind of boring. So let's try again here. Again, let's grab our text tool here and find a good font. So really, be critical. Find the one you like. No, that's no good. I'm not sure what I used for this one. Oh, yeah, I didn't like it all caps. Yeah, that's right. So a lot of these are just not doing it for me here. Let's try Garamond Bold. That's not bad. Let me look at that one. Yeah, that might work here if I bring up the font size. Let's go ahead and do that. So select your text. And we're going to bring this up as far as we can. That looks pretty good. And then maybe we'll add some kind of an outline to that. So watch this. We can go up here, select our text. And let's see, I don't see any text effects, but maybe over here we have some. Let's look. Box dynamic, no. I don't see any text effects here that would work. So let's go ahead and just maybe under enhance. We're looking for some kind of a shadow. Light and shadow, there we go. Let's do a drop shadow. That's probably all we need to do for this text. Oh, there we go. See how it's, if I'm pulling this out, you can see it happening there. I can bring the opacity down. Or up, sorry. And that looks good like that. But let's go ahead and bring the radius down. And maybe just try to darken that. That looks pretty good right there. We can also turn that down. Maybe turn the grow radius down. Or let's see, is there a distance between them maybe? There we go. And you can adjust the X and Y distance. That looks pretty good right there. Okay, so we're on my last feature here. So create a new layer here. Can grab my text tool and come down here. Maybe bring this down a little bit this time. Okay, and then last one. All right, so let's see here. Again, if you go over the border here, that's pretty good right there. Let's grab our move tool and move this thing around. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now let's zoom in here so you can see it. So you see for each one, I did each one on its own layer here. You could do all the text on one layer. The problem is, though, you can't apply the filtering effect until the end. Otherwise, it'll erase it if you need to go back and edit it. But I just basically did it's still a little big, basically did the drop shadow on each one. Looks pretty close. Maybe right there. That's good enough. Okay, so now we'll apply the drop shadow. So I'm going to click here. Go up to filters again one last time. Light and shadow. Choose drop shadow and then play with the grow radius there and also the opacity. Bring that up. And then here if I just drop the X and Y down a little bit. kind of match the other there and the glow radius. There we go. That looks pretty good. I think I can live with that. Click OK. And so now when we zoom out here, you can see I've got 5 feature stories in there that you can see in the magazine. Probably the last thing I would do is move those around and maybe put a barcode down here. Or I could put it over in the left here too. Let's try that. Let's see if I can move these. So click on this layer here. Oops. Grab my move tool and just move these around a little bit. Maybe move them up a little bit so I have room for a barcode down below. Maybe about there. So you can see each one's on its own layer, and you may want to do that or you may not. It's up to you. And just kind of space them out, move them a little closer to each other up here. And then the last one up here. That looks pretty good probably. Let's zoom out and see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, we have room for a barcode down here. So to do a barcode, again, I'll create a new layer here. And let's just go ahead and we'll do a white box here. Maybe about that big. That looks good. And we'll fill that in. Okay, and then again, let's duplicate that layer. So we're just going to Shift-Control-A to deselect it. Let's duplicate this layer by clicking the duplicate, and then we'll turn this one black. So let's click here, grab our fill bucket. Oops. Control-Z. And we'll just select that area. So let me grab my select by color tool and fill that in. There we go. Shift-Control-A. All right, so now we'll zoom in. And what I'm going to do is just grab my selection here, my rectangular selection tool, and just start selecting areas and hitting delete, right? Okay, let's do another one over here. Well, let's move it over here just a little bit. Or we could just draw a new one here. Would probably be the smarter thing to do. Okay, hit delete. And again, move this over. Okay, delete that one again. Create a new selection here, maybe a thinner one. Okay. You see how I'm doing that? I'm just grabbing this selection here and deleting areas. Okay. And let's do another one. Shift-Control-A. Move that one in a little bit. Okay, make some smaller ones and add a thicker one again. Okay, so I'm just making my own barcode here. Try to make it look legit here. And this one's a little thick here, so I'm going to select some more of this. Choose delete, Shift-Control-A, that looks good. And just keep going until I get what I want here. Okay, hit delete. Just kind of vary the thickness of some of them. Okay. A little delayed reaction there. There may be one more right there. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing I'll do with this code now is I'll grab this selection tool again on this layer, and I'll just grab an area here where I can stick some numbers in there. So maybe to about right there, and hit delete, and then I'll just punch some numbers in there. So probably with the text tool, okay, and notice they're down below, but we'll fix that. You know, something like that. So we'll grab these numbers here and we'll change the font here. Again, let's go up to our tool settings here and just change the font. Okay, so you find something you like. None of these are doing it for me. Let's just try something. Not quite. That works. I like that. Let's grab that. Okay, and then we'll bring the font size down here. That looks good right there. Bring these numbers up. And there we've got a barcode with some numbers on it. Let's zoom out and look at it and see how it looks. And there you can see a barcode. So it kind of has more of a finished look that way. So what we can do now is we can go back to our layers. We can zoom in here just a little bit. And we can take these two layers, this one, or these three layers, I should say, and we can combine those into one, okay? So we're going to take all of these other layers and turn them off. And we're just going to merge these these three layers into one. Okay, so make sure you're selected on one of the layers that you want to merge and that the eyeball's on all of them. Go up to Layer, click New from Visible. Okay, and so there it is. So we can take these three and delete these, basically. We don't need them anymore. So if you want to reduce your layers, that's a good way to do it. Now you can turn all these back on. And notice, look how many layers I have going here now. Okay. Since we have so far. So other things that we can add in there, maybe add a price. You know, how much is a consumer willing to pay for this? Well, let's click on New Layer here. Put a price on the magazine, okay? And we'll just do it up here. So let's zoom in. And let's grab our text tool, right? We're going to put the price right up here somewhere. So let's say this one costs $12.95, right? Magazines are way overpriced now. Nobody's going to pay that for my magazine. And then let's just click there. We'll make that text white. And maybe even reduce the size here just a little bit. Okay, and then grab your move tool. Put your price there, maybe, something like that. Then maybe one last thing, who the publisher is. Let's go down. We'll go down to the bottom here. Again, new layer. Actually, let's get rid of that. We're just going to do a new layer here. And again, name of the publisher will go down here. We'll call this an ActDog publication. like so. Okay, and then let's make that white again. And then again, we'll maybe put a shadow on that too. Let's see if we can add a drop shadow and see if we make that work. Okay. Bring our opacity up. Grow radius up. It's not really doing anything there, is it? Let's try it again here. Maybe we just need to select the text. Like so, then filters, light and shadow. Again, we're going to do a drop shadow. Opacity all the way up. It's not doing it on that for some reason. But we can move this thing around and maybe see if we can do it right here. Let's try that. Okay, we're on that layer again. Grab my text tool. Try that one more time. It just doesn't like that font for whatever reason. Well, let's try another filter then. Let's try something else there. Let's go up to filters. Again, we did light and shadow. Let's try drop shadow legacy. Wow, it just will not do a shadow on that font for whatever reason. Well, maybe if we change our font here. So let's go ahead and do something a little differently. That looks good. I like that. Let's see if we can add a shadow to that now. So let's go up to filters, light and shadow, drop shadow. Again, not getting much. For some reason, this shadow thing is not working, so I guess we'll just live without that. So I'm trying to figure out where this would look good. No, maybe not there. Well, it would look good there if I could add a filter to it. Maybe what we can do is add a filter to it now without selecting it. Let's try that. No, still not going to do anything there. It just doesn't like that font for whatever reason. So what we'll do is we'll make that smaller. Let's just grab our text tool here. And we'll bring that font size down. Make it small, and then we'll just move it down here where you can actually see it. Something like that. Okay? All right. It's probably not even necessary at this point, but so that's the idea, you guys, is to create an interesting layout, make a magazine about yourself. You could title it your own name. You can give it a header if you want, a price tag, name of your publisher, a barcode. The idea is to make the layout look really nice. Everything's kind of in its place. And to make it look professional as well.